Was your answer on number 6, positive 6 over 5 and negative 6 over 5 for x? If it wasn't, you need to go fix it. Have you noticed that when you work problems like number 6, when the numbers get larger, that it gets more difficult? That's the advantage of taking the GCF out first. If you could work with smaller numbers, you should always do so. So when you look at number 7, you see that it's already equal to 0, and it's in the correct order. But they're all even numbers, so it would be very beneficial to go ahead and take out that GCF from the beginning and work with smaller numbers. The largest number that will divide evenly into all three of these is 2. So I'm going to take a factor of 2 out. So I'm going to do 4 divided by 2. The m's aren't changing because I can't take any m's out. Positive 2 divided by 2. And negative 12 divided by 2. So now I'm going to work with these numbers as opposed to the ones that I had to start with. So the stuff in the parentheses I'm going to factor, and I'm going to use the bottoms up method, so I'm going to take the 2 to the end and join it with that 6. So now I have m squared plus 1m minus 12 when I take the 2 and multiply it with the 6. And now I'm going to factor this stuff in the parentheses. And I'm looking for the factor pair that multiplies to make negative 12, but they need to add to make this middle term of positive 1. So two numbers that multiply to make negative 12 and add to make positive 1. I'll give you a minute to think about it. Did you decide on 4 and negative 3? Because 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, but 4 plus negative 3 makes positive 1. Those are the numbers that need to go into your parentheses with your m's. And this 2 is just out here. It doesn't have a letter with it, so it's not going to get an answer. It's just part of the factorization. M squared, and I'm going to use a positive 4 and a negative 3. Now, since we used the bottoms up method and we took this 2 to the end and multiplied, we need to undo that and go ahead and divide, and then check to see if these reduce. So this 2 is still here. 4 over 2 is just 2. The 3 over 2, if you type it into your calculator and math enter, it stays 3 over 2, which means it doesn't reduce. So I'm going to move the bottom up in front of the m where it goes. And now I have it factored. I'm going to do a quick check. M times 2m gives me my 2m squared. 2 times negative 3 gives me my negative 6. The middle term of 1 comes from 2 times 2m plus m times negative 3m. M times negative 3. Negative 3m and positive 4m do add up to my positive 1m, so I know it's factored correctly and I'm ready to get my answers. This 2 does not have an m, so the answer, there is no answer for m for this term. A lot of you keep telling me that the answer for that is 0, but 2 is always going to equal 2. It's never going to equal 0. I'm going to get an answer anywhere there's an m. So if m plus 2 is 0, then this answer for m is negative 2. If 2m minus 3 is 0, then you're going to use this number with the opposite sign over whatever's in front of the m. Here are your two answers for m, and you are ready to work number 7 on your practice sheet.